This is the Luzz Glider, a hybrid Luzz Cannon. On paper, it's more forgiving and more maneuverable. But the real question is whether it holds on to the power and performance of its predecessor. Most paddle reviews come from advanced players, which makes up about 10% of the community. I'm an intermediate player, testing paddles to see if they work for the rest of us. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we jump into the review, a couple things to get out of the way. First of all, Luzz did send me the glider. However, all of the thoughts and opinions within this video are my own. And in terms of pricing, you can pick up the glider for $92 and some change using the coupon code PBD at checkout. Let's head into the lab to see the specs on the Luzz Glider, as well as look at some of the modifications I made. Compared to the Cannon, the swing weight on the glider is much lower, and this really allows you to customize the paddle to fit your game style. I chose to include 3 grams of tungsten weight at the 3 and 9 o'clock positions. This moves the swing weight up to a 109, which is still very light, especially for someone who prefers a more maneuverable paddle. And this also increases the twist weight to 7.1, which is really phenomenal for this type of paddle. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Luzz Cannon. If not, I do have a review on that paddle as well. What really got me excited about the Luzz Glider is the hybrid shape. As someone at the intermediate level, I tend to prefer hybrid and wide body paddles because it just gives me a little bit more forgiveness. And so when I found out that Luzz had this type of shape, I really wanted to give it a try. Because the glider and the Cannon share the same inner workings, these paddles do play very similar. But I did notice a few differences. First of all, the glider is not going to be as stiff as the Cannon. And so for me, I actually appreciated this because I tend to like a paddle that's a bit softer. And I felt the Cannon was quite stiff compared to some of the other paddles that I've preferred in terms of feel. When it comes to control, I have to give the edge to the glider. I felt like I had such a bigger sweet spot on this hybrid shape. And when I was dinking close up, I had full control over where my shots would go. If I was slightly out of position, the glider gave me a bit more forgiveness than the Cannon would. And I felt like someone that was at the intermediate level could really handle this paddle well. While the shape did help, I do feel like the fact that the paddle wasn't as stiff gave me a little bit more feedback, and I felt more connected to the paddle, especially when I was hitting some of those soft touches. Things like drops and resets just felt more natural to me, and it really helped me stay connected to the paddle. So when it comes to dinks, drops, resets, I much prefer the glider over the Cannon because you're just going to have that additional forgiveness, and the paddle overall will be much easier to use. I think the real question is, when you look at the power that the Cannon has, can the glider keep up? And I have to say, for the most part, yes, it can. For me, I think the slightly softer feel of the glider gave the perception of a little bit less power. I think between that and the fact that I kept the swing weight much lower at 109 compared to around 117 for the Cannon, I was able to sacrifice just a little bit of that plow through to be able to have better hands at the net. The one thing that surprised me was the amount of pop that I got with the glider, especially because I was able to keep such soft hands and really direct my dinks exactly where I needed them to go. The fact that I could turn the knob and flip the switch and just immediately put away the ball really gave me a ton of confidence to win points once I got to the kitchen. Now for me, when I think of control and power together, I really think about how well do I hit volleys and overheads. These are shots that I typically have a hard time with, and for me, the amount of forgiveness that the paddle has combined with the amount of power that it provides, really determines how well I hit these shots. And the cool thing about the glider was that I was able to generate a good amount of power and yet still place the ball on my overheads exactly where I wanted them. And when it came to volleys and even drives, I could keep the ball very low over the net. And this is due, for one, with the amount of spin that the glider provides through the grit on the paddle surface, as well as the forgiveness and control that you'll get with this paddle. So who is this paddle for? Well, I think you have to be someone that still prefers the Gen 3 construction. It's someone that has either played with a Pro 4 or maybe the Luzz Cannon, and you're looking for a little bit of forgiveness and a softer paddle compared to those stiffer options. The glider is going to be exactly what you're looking for. And the cool thing about the glider is because of how forgiving it is, while also maintaining that power, I personally would recommend this for anyone at the 3.0 level and higher, which makes this just a more accessible option, especially considering the price point of only $92 after code PBD. The last thing I'll mention is that Luzz is coming out with the Cannon 2, which I believe is using the same hybrid shape. So if you're not in the market for a paddle immediately, you might want to wait to see what the Cannon 2 brings and compare and contrast it to the current glider. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you can get out and play some pickleball.